One day, a young man named Rohan found himself stranded in the middle of nowhere, abandoned by the very people he thought he could trust. As he sat under a tree, hungry and exhausted, he finally realized a painful truth. He had spent his whole life depending on others, and now, when he needed them the most, no one was there for him. How did he end up in this situation? Let's go back to where it all began. Rohan was an easygoing young man who always believed that if he faced any problems, someone would help him. Whether it was his parents, friends, or colleagues, he relied on others to solve his issues. If he ran out of money, he would borrow. If he had an assignment due, he would ask a friend to help. If he got into trouble, he would expect someone to bail him out. His father often warned him, "Son, the world doesn't owe you anything. One day, you will be alone, and no one will come to your aid." But Rohan never listened. He laughed off the advice, thinking, why struggle when help is always around? One day, Rohan got an exciting opportunity to go on a business trip with his colleagues. It was a chance to prove himself. However, instead of preparing, he relied on his teammates to handle everything, from booking the tickets to planning the meetings. He was confident that they would take care of him, just like always. But fate had a different plan. During the trip, Rohan and his colleagues stopped at a remote village for a break. While they rested, Rohan wandered off to explore, assuming that his friends would wait for him. But when he returned, his heart sank. The car was gone. His phone was out of battery. He had no money, no contacts, and no way to reach his destination. He asked the villagers for help, but no one knew him. He tried to find a ride, but he had no money to pay. For the first time in his life, Rohan felt the weight of his own helplessness. He had relied so much on others that he had never learned to take care of himself. As the night fell, hunger gnawed at his stomach, and he finally understood what his father had been trying to teach him all along. No one is responsible for your life, except you. Determined to change, Rohan decided to help himself. He asked a local farmer if he could work in exchange for food and shelter. The farmer agreed. Rohan spent the next few days working in the fields, earning his meals. He learned the value of effort, independence, and self-sufficiency. Eventually, he managed to earn enough to get a ride back home, but he was no longer the same person. When he finally saw his father, Rohan bowed his head and said, "You were right. I was foolish to depend on others. From now on, I will take responsibility for my own life." Now, moral of the story: never rely on others to solve your problems. True strength comes from self-reliance. People may help you, but no one will always be there. Learn to stand on your own feet, because in the end, the only person you can always count on is yourself.